Hey guys, it's Mumbai here. So today I'm going to be sharing with you 4 rules that we always stick to as a family before we make any purchase. These are just kind of sacrosanct rules that we never ever break really. So hopefully you find them useful. And if you have any that you want to share with me, like by all means, please feel free in the comments. The first one is to do with cars. So it's 2 main rules that we follow when it comes to cars. Number 1, we will never, and I mean like never, buy a car brand new. Now, the reason why is because as soon as you drive that baby out the lot, like I think it goes down by like 50% in value or whatever it is. I think it's fairly, common knowledge that when you purchase a car brand new, it loses value almost immediately after you've bought it. So that's something that we just never do. So we will always buy a car secondhand. But the second thing is we will not use any purchase options when it comes to a car. We will always buy our car in cash. Now, it's many reasons for this, and one of the ones is obviously linked to the value drop. Cars devalue, so over time, you're driving it, you're using it, all of that, to do with the car, and the value is going down. But if you've used a purchase option, often they come with finance, and so you're paying interest, and over time you're paying interest on a car that's losing value, and then the gap between what you're paying and the value of the actual thing that you're paying for just gets bigger and bigger with time. So for us, we just think it's not really worth it. But another thing is a lot of people are kind of trapped in these payment options, not always, but sometimes, and they're very hard to kind of get out of. And I really do empathize because often they don't always make it that transparent with the challenges you might actually face trying to get out of these schemes. That's just something that I would really encourage for anyone who's considering purchasing a car. Always think about the exit strategy. Always ask, and think about if your circumstances changed and you wanted to get out, how would you actually go about doing that? And do they explain it clearly? So that's another one of the reasons why we'll always just buy a car in cash. And if we can't afford to buy it in cash, we can't afford the car, and we just won't purchase it basically. So we try to stick to what we can actually afford. The second thing is to do with credit cards. In a very similar vein, we never kind of pay interest on credit card. If we have a credit card and make purchases on our credit card, we always make sure that we pay that credit card off in full at the end of the month. Point number 3 is we will never pay for subscription services that charge interest for monthly payments. We will always pay the annual figure if that is cheaper than paying monthly. So before I used to be subscribed to Amazon Prime, and I would pay £7.99 a month for the subscription, and I used to just tell myself
like, oh V, you're halfway through, you might change your mind and decide that you don't want to be subscribed to Prime anymore, and it just gives you that freedom and flexibility.
And I would pay for it monthly, and I would just tell myself,
like, I might change my mind halfway through and cancel it.
And lo and behold, the end of the year would come and Mumbai was still subscribed to the thing and had paid every single payment. So I think I was just lying to myself. I was in denial as to how much I loved the service. So essentially, I just realized what I was doing, and now I pay the one-off payment, which is actually less than if I was paying it off monthly. So yeah, that's just the general principle. So, as an example, if subscription costs £10 a month, and over a year they have a one-off payment of £120,000, that's actually okay, because that's not costing you any more to pay for it monthly than it would in the one-off payment. So in that instance, I'm fine. But if it costs £120 to pay for it one-off, but the monthly payment is like £13 a month, then I'm like, no, I'll pay the one-off payment. Okay, so last but not least is phone contracts. So we used to do this, and we don't do this anymore. I don't know what it's like everywhere else in the world, but in the UK, if you are purchasing a phone, you can buy the phone brand new with a contract and not have to pay for the phone in full. So, they would offer you maybe £50 a month, £40 a month, £20 a month for a phone contract. And then they'll give you all the services, but you're tied in for like 24 months or 18 months or whatever it is. I used to do this, and then I stopped because I realized that, by the end of the period, the locked period, the fixed period, I had paid back the value of the phone and then some, and then like the services. So I stopped doing this, and now what we do is we actually buy the handset outright. And I have a maximum, you know, I will only spend like £450 maximum on a handset. Like, I can't, like, just like handsets that cost £1,000, like my brain 900, my mind cannot get around it. It just like, whew, stresses me out, the thought of paying that amount of money for a phone. But you know, to each their own, we're all different. But for me, that's like way too much. So £450 max on a phone. And I think right now I'm on a SIM-only deal that costs me about £10 a month. And it just means that over the period, over the term, I'm actually paying a lot less for what I'm quite happy with as a service. My phone does absolutely everything I could want it to do. It's quick, it, you know, takes great photos, all of that sort of thing. So that's one suggestion, is try a SIM only contract. And if you're someone who's like big on gadgets, like my husband loves his gadgets, the good thing is he keeps them for a long term, so that's not too bad. But you know, maybe consider, if you're outside of your fixed term, calling your provider and actually saying to them, do you know what, there's some really great deals out there on the market, but I don't want to switch. I've done this before. And more often than not, the provider will actually negotiate with you and reduce the price of your product to match whatever's out there in the market, because they would much rather keep your revenue as a customer than to lose you entirely to a competitor. And don't bluff this. Like, make sure you are actually willing to switch and you've actually found an alternative product, because they might call your bluff and be like, well, okay, bye, then you're stuck. So, and if they're not willing to negotiate, then switch, switch and save yourself some money. Okay, so those are all the points from me today. Hopefully you found something in there that was useful. I'm Mumbai from The Inspired Baobab. I share things on saving, investing, and just like my journey really, and books that inspire me. So if you're interested in any of those things, feel free to subscribe, and I shall see you on my next video. Goodbye.